All right, step one to taking apart a Ptac unit, just popping the cover off. And then you're just gonna go down, try to squeeze your hand up in there, and go and unplug the unit from the wall. And now it's just simply unplugging the wires. So you have that disconnected. This just goes and feeds all the way straight to that thermostat. It's ran through down here, usually out the back, but sometimes out the side. Yeah. Goes into the wall, wraps around, and then goes to the thermostat. So you just disconnect those, feed that one back out. Well, disconnect this wire from the wire harness to the thermostat. And once you have that disconnected, then you can just go and pull this whole thing out, which then you just have 1, 2, 3 screws. 1, 2, 3 screws. And then on some of these, you got this base cover that's covering up any cords and whatnot in the bottom of the squirrel cage. You're gonna have to take some of this off sometimes, or just cut the wire and pull it out of there whenever you're taking it out or installing one. Same thing that I just explained to Bossman right there. Holy good lord. Same thing I just explained to him right there. Once you have it pulled out, you can just feed that through real fast. Once the whole unit is out, just do a quick visual inspection. Just make sure that there's no like mice droppings or anything like that up in here. This is called the squirrel cage. It just goes right out there, comes in through the fan in the back of this, which then goes through here. You have your blower motor roller, and that's how you cool and heat the room. So now we're on to the stage of installing it. You just take it out the packaging right over there. And then once you have all this crap out of the way, this is the wire that's going to the thermostat. This is from the old power cord, usually. Like I was just on them, you just cut them because it's just going through a hole right here in this, but you're throwing it away anyhow. So just taking that out and then feeding it back through that hole and then pulling the power cord out, chucking that out with it. And then yeah, and we'll get to the installation in the next part. And once you just shimmy it on up to the squirrel cage, if you got 2 people, one person grabs the one side, one person grabs the other side, you just lift it up and just slide it on in. Just make sure the power cord's out the way so that you're not leaving that inside the squirrel cage. And also just make sure that there's no like plastics or manuals or anything left behind inside of the Ptac unit. Because on some of them, they do leave manuals on the inside. So once you have that slid on in, which also if it's just one person, you just lift the one corner up in there real fast and then go lift the other corner up in there. It'll dangle down and then you just grab in the middle, lift up and push it in. But after you have that done, then you're just screwing in the sides, which some of them don't always match up. So I believe on this one, yeah, you can only do 2 out of the 3. So you'll only be able to use 4 out of the 6 screws to mount it back in and secure it. But then it's literally just plugging this in, and then we'll get to the wiring. But that's all there is for the actual unit working, is just putting it in there, screwing it down so it's mounted and secured, and then just plugging it in, and then it's already working. But then we get into the wiring for the thermostat. So yeah, and then for some units, you'll have it to where you have a box that's wired into the unit, which then gives a relay like a Bluetooth over to the wall thermostat, which then gives it a Bluetooth signal. But for all these, are all going to be hardwired in. While he's doing this last side, I'm gonna briefly explain this real fast. We'll get deeper into it, but this is going to come with every single unit that you buy. So you're just going to want to rip it on open and pull the wires out of here. This is what you're going to be using. It's going to plug right up into there. And then you're going to need to flip 2 of these switches. It's called the S3 and the S9. You just flip them the opposite ways after you have wired everything correctly to this. Which usually, let's take a quick gander. let's see, you're gonna do like a blue, blue, red, red on this, because you just look at the wires and just kind of take your big old guess. But there's also a manual and a diagram. You can go ahead and also look up online and see there's a 5-wire one and there's a 7-wire one. But yeah, blue, blue, red, red, green, green, white, white, yellow, yellow, and then orange to black. So this one, this black wire is going to go to orange on some of them, not all of them. The black is wired in, not the orange. So then you would go black to black, but it's interchangeable with the black to orange, black to black. But the rest of them, like I said, just wire them in. And then usually I just take these other wires that you're never going to be using and I just cut them so that they're flat. So they don't have any exposed copper or anything like that. And then, yeah. And there's going to be 2 whites because, once again, it depends on if there's a 5-wire system or a 7-wire system, or if it's just a completely different unit and whatnot. But for this, usually I just take the one that's closest to the yellow and I wire that up. But once again, you can just wire it up, connect it, see if it works. If it works, cool, good. If it don't, just change out the wire. It's super fast, super easy. You're not going to burn it, you're not going to melt it. And this has absolutely no power going to it right now up until this is plugged into there. That's when it'll have power to it. So yeah, show you the end result once these are wired together. And then also, if you need a quick tip on seeing if they didn't, cut off or wrap up or, whatever, the black wire or orange wire, if they just have it all willy-nilly and you're like, oh shoot, which one do I use? You're just gonna want to go and head on over to that wall thermostat right over there, and you're just gonna go take it off, unplug it out the back, and then you're gonna go and check the wires that are feeding up into the wall thermostat, and then go ahead and see, okay, orange is feeding to it, so then it has to be orange because black is not feeding to it. And you can go and match it like that. You can look up the diagram online for that, and you got a diagram over there, or look it up online for that, and then you're just going and matching. So yeah. Okay, now once everything's wired correctly, ignore that, it's just from the camera and how it looks from the LEDs, but it should say LC, which means that it's locked out. They can't use any of these to control. You can go and buy plates that say that this is controlled by the wall thermostat. Like I said, as long as it's wired correctly, and you go and you flip the S3 and S9 dip switch, these little switches that you see right here are dip switches. It'll say what it is right below it. S3 and S9, you just flip those the opposite way from when you get it, and then it'll put it in lockout mode. And like I said, as long as everything's wired correctly, you just go ahead and then you can mess with it on the wall thermostat. And like I said, I always just cut the ones that I'm not using just flat, and you just come up here and you can feel like, oh, okay, it's cold, and then you test it out on the wall thermostat to make sure. You can hear the compressors kicking on. So this one was just blue, blue, yellow, yellow, red, red, orange, black, white, white, green, green. Like I said, the white, I always just do that one that's nearest. That one worked. If it doesn't, you just flip it. It's not that big of a deal. Because wires are really just copper. The color, the sleeve on it, is just so that you can organize yourself. But some people mismatch stuff, so it could have went to the other one, but it didn't. So it worked. Everything's done, set, good to go. You just move this out the way, tuck it away. He's going to grab some electrical tape because I said I like this stuff, which is just a preference. Taped up, moved out the way, because also you do not want it sitting down on here because water can get right there, because it also has a drainage system for any excess water, and you don't want your active hot wires being in water. It's a whole mess, so just don't do that. And usually this part that was covering it, but you had to take off to be able to get to it, and move this up so you can get and plug it in. I usually just keep this off because I don't like this. Unnecessary parts I always get rid of. Just don't keep them on. It just clogs up the area. Makes it more difficult for actual maintenance guys. The only people who do this stuff are engineers who don't think about maintenance. So Yeah. Yep. And like I said, same thing with that. I just keep those off. This is the old prongs. These are just never going to work on this because it's completely different wiring setup. So that's why those are always taken off and thrown out. But yeah, especially because this unit is perfectly fine the way it is. Cheapest one, works really good. You just got to be careful on installation because also, like, you do not want to push up on this. This is super sensitive. If you break this, that can screw up the entire machine, and extremely sensitive, so use caution around that. But yeah, that's about it for these videos. So have a good one. God bless.